Stacey and Chase Boo.
Hello, my friend. You hang out with your besties. Stacey and Chase Boo all the way till 6 p.m. Today, if you did not know, is World Autism Awareness Day. Now, as Stacey and Chase Boo on East Coast Radio, it is very important for us to acknowledge days like this. Awareness days are very important because they allow people to be educated. We're reducing stigmas. We encourage positive action, support those who are affected, and hopefully, to some extent, we want to have influence when it comes to policymakers so that we can make life livable for people who are affected.
It's also important to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And if we don't talk about things, then people tend to keep those things bottled up.
Yeah.
And that's not how we progress, right? So today is World Autism Awareness Day, and it is a reality in this country that the estimation is 1 in every 100 children is on the spectrum. Yet thousands of these kids remain undiagnosed, which results in them being unsupported and ultimately misunderstood. Now, autism isn't always necessarily visible. It doesn't always, quote unquote, look the way that people think it would or that they would expect it to do. And for some families, for example, it would be navigating sensory overload in public spaces. For others, it's fighting to be heard in a system that doesn't always understand their child. There's not enough space for their child. And for many, it's just the daily emotional weight of advocating for a world that can sometimes feel incredibly isolating.
Yeah, 100%. And autism, just to put it out there, man, is not a limitation, but it's just a different way of looking at the world. This year, the global theme is Autism and Humanity. Every life has value. The theme emphasizes the dignity, inherent worth, and the equal rights of all autistic people, calling for increased inclusion and neurodiversity acceptance in health, education, and in the workplace setting around the world. Because behind every diagnosis is a child who experienced the world differently, and a parent or a caregiver doing everything they can do to understand, protect, and empower them. And if you are listening right now and this is your reality, we want to let you know, man, you are being seen, you are being acknowledged, and we want to walk this journey with you because your journey matters.
Now, therapy is obviously a way that we can explore the implications of what it means to have a child who is on the spectrum, the implications on the family. And I'm very close to someone who is currently navigating this with their child, with an amazing therapist. And what the therapist had said to my friend who is the father is, some kids see the world in a color, right? It's blue or it's red, it's green, it's pink. Your child sees the world in all of the colors.
Yeah.
And I think that if you can kind of break it down in that way, maybe it'll be a little bit easier for us as the adults to also understand and to help and support our friends who are navigating this with their kids. So we have called on Paediatric Intensivist Dr. Klope, who's going to help us unpack how behavioural therapies like applied behaviour analysis actually works and why it can be so effective, and also offer practical advice to parents, caregivers, and family members on raising kids with autism, from building their independence to supporting emotional well-being.
Today is the day where we celebrate World Autism Awareness Day by giving support where it is needed the most. Mine today is to talk about behavioral therapies for the child with autism spectrum disorder. This is also known as applied behavior analysis. This is a widely accepted approach. It helps track the child's behavior and skills and help them in improving those skills. So I'm just going to mention different types and few of those. So the first one I'd like to talk about is known as positive behavior and support. So this one aims to figure out why a child does a particular problem behavior, and then how the therapy works is to change the environment, teach them skill, make other changes that will correct the behavior to be more positive for the child. So this therapy encourages the child to behave more appropriately. The second therapy is known as pivotal response training. So this takes place in a child's everyday environment, which may be at home or at school. So it helps improve few pivotal skills such as motivation and taking initiative to communicate. So this therapy will help the child learn many other skills and also how to deal with different situations. Another behavioral therapy is known as early intensive behavioral intervention, which is started very early in the child's life. It is individualized behavioral instruction, and it requires commitment, it requires time. It can be done on one-on-one or as a group session. Last one that I would like to talk about is known as discrete trial teaching. So this therapy teaches the child skills in a controlled step-by-step way, where the teacher will use the positive feedback to encourage the child to use new skills. So these therapies work on different levels depending on the child's behavior, on the child's skills, and you just need to be patient and be consistent and give it time. So the message I have for the parents with children that are suffering from autism spectrum disorder is firstly have the diagnosis confirmed by the specialist, which is a pediatric neurologist. They work together with speech therapists and occupational therapists. Once the diagnosis is confirmed, then the child is enrolled in these therapies. So please make sure that you learn what is the child taught so that you can continue at home as well. And just remember, each child is different. They have different challenges. They have different behavioral skills. So just understand your child, learn about autism spectrum disorder, be part of your child's journey.
To every parent, to every non-profit organization, and to every business supporting individuals with autism, we want to take the opportunity to say we see you, we acknowledge you, and as East Coast Radio, we want to say we are here with you. To read up more on World Autism Awareness Day, please head on over to ecr.co.za and click on Stacey and Jace.
Stacey and Jace Boo, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. East Coast Radio.